Caution. This podcast is designed for mature audiences. We delve into topics surrounding sexuality and intimate relationships in a candid and open manner. Please note that we are not licensed marriage or sex therapists, and the content shared here is intended solely for entertainment and informational purposes. If you are under 18 years old or prefer not to engage in explicit discussions about sex, relationships, or mature language, we advise against proceeding further. However, if you're of legal age and comfortable with such content, feel free to settle in, grab a beverage, and enjoy this episode. Just remember, time flies when you're having fun. Oh, and the stories you are about to hear are true. The names have been changed to protect the guilty.
Welcome to Beyond Monogamy, where every episode is a journey of discovery, liberation, and endless possibility. Join your hosts Roger Johnson and Janet Valentine as they peel back the layers of convention, inviting you into a world where passion knows no boundaries. Beyond Monogamy, a podcast that transcends the traditional norms of relationships to uncover the raw, unfiltered stories about the lifestyle. And now, your hosts, Roger Johnson and Janet Valentine.
Okay, so I don't think today that Roger's going to join us, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for the girls to talk. So
That's
kind of
right.
looking forward to it. So let's get it started. Welcome to Beyond Monogamy. I'm Janet Valentine.
And I'm Barbie, Triple E.
And I don't think Roger will come weighing in. He had a family emergency. And as things we say in the lifestyle, family comes first. So sometimes that means you got to miss a party, you got to miss a date, something comes up, family comes first. So his family stuff has gotten in the way. He may join us later, but I figure we'll take this opportunity to really wing it and get into the conversation for all of you flies on the wall. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I hope that you can get something out of this conversation. Obviously, the title of the podcast is Beyond Monogamy. To give you some context, Barbie is retired from the lifestyle. She has also been a sex camera model, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember what the nice words are, but helping people get off and one at a time digitally. That's always fun.
Yeah.
And then she's been in the lifestyle for a long time before she retired. I've been in the lifestyle on and off for over 20 years, and I call myself semi-retired. So all of you that have joined us, you're the flies on the wall. If you want to weigh in on topics, or if you'd like for us to talk about it, I usually do this at the end of the podcast, but I'm going to do it at the beginning. Please go to beyondmonogamypodcast.com and you'll catch our emails. You can also tip the producer because right now he's doing it for free. And but let's get into the conversation. Okay, so I have a couple of different things that we can talk about since it's girls only and the guys aren't here. I think we should take this opportunity to talk about things that guys do that they think are hot, but maybe they're not.
Boy. I think, well, I don't want to sound, insincere, or I don't know. But for me, I guess if I preface this by saying for me, some of the attention that they pay to areas that just don't have they're just not fruitful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like they want to go down on you, but they want to lick, without any kind of purpose, or there's no attention to a certain area. It's kind of all over the place. And then they think you really are liking it, because you're moaning and groaning, which, you do, because every now and again they hit a spot But then, what are you supposed to the left, to the right? I mean, yes, I have said that before, but I mean, you don't make a regular habit of that, so you kind of move your body and so that's probably one of my things that I would say, if you're a man and you're going to go down on a woman, have a purpose, know what you're after. um, the clit is what you're after, so
I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to stop. So I don't, I'm one of these people that doesn't give them the feedback as much as I should. You
yeah,
know,
no, I
I'll moan
know,
a little bit. And like you said, I will try to push my hips a little bit to try and get them to the right spot. Guys, if you're listening and that woman is kind of move you over a little bit, she's moving you over, trying to let you know, she's giving you the silent signal that this is a better place.
yeah,
You know, this is
yeah,
not,
that's right. This is
I,
called body language.
because it truly is a gift when they go down on you, because most guys don't do this very often. Now, there I had some regulars that they were so good at this, and
Oh
they knew that was
yes,
what
oh
their whole
yes,
special thing was. And then it was like, oh, that was their superpower, and they knew it, and they were good, and they were perfect, and then that was like, yeah, I want to do that guy. But for most guys, I don't. Plus, I don't want them to characterize me as the woman that just lays there. You
yeah,
know,
boy,
if you, so it's kind of like a dance. If she's laying there and she's not moaning and she's moving around stuff, she's trying to get it to the right place. But we're not. I'm not that abrupt of a person. I've heard in a lifestyle, there was a woman. I heard her do it to the doc. The doc is one of the characters I talk about. He was such a puppy in the lifestyle. He was so happy to be in the lifestyle, and he wasn't the best looking guy or whatever, but he also was not very good at reading people's signals. And he was trying to do her on the bed, and the way she was saying it was a little to the left and a little to the right, or no, not there, and it wasn't like,
ooh,
no, not there. It could be better. It was
yeah,
no, not there.
yeah, that's not
So
good. Yeah,
I'm afraid I'll come across as the witch,
I know.
and then I'm afraid I'll
Uh,
come across as the person who's not grateful that you're down there.
exactly, exactly. I mean,
I want,
it's so delicate, but that's why again I say, if our topic is one of those things that men do that they think that you really like, that maybe you don't. And again, I can't even speak for, a tenth of the women out here. I can
right,
only speak for myself and my experience as what I feel is a sexually liberated person. I know what I like. I know how to have really good orgasms, and I
right.
know where, you got to work on it, and just licking around it and darting in and out. And, that's okay to get you started. But from there, if this is really what you want to do, either practice or find some YouTube, find a video.
And I
Just
can do it because probably my first husband is not listening to this, but I'll tell you that my first husband was one of these ones where we were at a lifestyle event and another guy came up when we were first into the lifestyle. We were at a party, and this guy was going around and he was reaching up into the pussy and fingering it. And just within 2 minutes or so, he was making the pussy drip of just about every woman that he did around the table. And so he was doing this. And my husband at the time watched him do it. And then my husband decided that he could just learn how to do it just by observing how this guy did it. So then his game was to reach up in there, and then he would the guy would do this thing where he would stick his hand up in there and he would tickle the G spot a little bit, and he did it to me, and he would just silently breathe in and say to you real sexily, 1, 2, 3. And by the time you hit 3, you were popping. More because of what his fingers was doing, combined with, the way this strange
yeah.
guy is whispering in my ear and counting. Yeah, it was really freaking sexy. So then when my husband tries to mimic that, it was not good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at that time in my relationship with him, I could not say to him, this is not good. Okay. That was not our relationship, because if I said it was not good, then it would be a big fight about,
Right.
well, you liked it with him, you didn't like it with me, blah, 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 blah. So I just faked it.
Yeah.
I would fake it. And can you fake the liquid coming out? Not really, but you can fake the orgasm enough. Harry Met Sally type
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so great. Yeah, and then just pull away.
Yeah.
And I
Say,
would,
oh, I need a break. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would. This is confession time. It's girls' time, so I get to say this. Yeah, I lied.
Oh, yeah. Like that hasn't happened before.
And um, I, I'll have to. So one of my other things that I've all sex is supposed to be good sex. Some is a lot better than that. But there have been these guys that do you, and I call it grocery list sex. Because
Mm.
you're laying there and they're trying to do let's do this position, let's do that position or whatever. And they're trying to get off, and you can tell that they're really close to getting off and you're not hitting whatever it is. And my mind starts wandering. And my mind starts wandering to, did I buy eggs? Do I need milk? I do. It's
Oh,
the guy. It's sometimes like I would say it's grocery list sex. It's
yeah.
sex, but it's not full attention sex.
No, you're right.
And so I'm counting the holes in the ceiling,
Oh,
or
that's
I'm
hilarious.
looking up, or looking up and going, oh, maybe there was a leak over there. So,
Put your heels in the air and
and I
think
act,
of,
yes,
think
and
of
then you act.
handbags. That was from Will and Grace.
Right. And the thing is, like we were talking about on the podcast last time when I was talking with Roger, guys can't fake it because you can tell if the dick isn't hard anymore, they're not into it as much anymore. But
Yeah.
um we can. And then there's actually been times where I started out with somebody, it was grocery list sex for a minute, and then they turned around and did something or found something or did a right position. And then all of a sudden it's like somebody's reaching into Janet's mind and going, come back here and pay attention.
Oh,
And
yeah. When it
and then,
clicks.
and then
Yeah.
that click, and then the click comes in, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you
Yeah. When
know,
there's a click, it's good. And,
right.
even when there's a click and you're attracted to somebody early on, and, at first, if it's somebody you've never played with before, it's awkward, and you may have that moment of that awkwardness, but boy, once it starts flowing and it's, ooh, there's just nothing like it, you know.
Well,
You move
and
from
then
kind of awkward to
yes,
rhythm.
right. And there's times, so uh, there's also times where I reach back into what I call spank bank material. Um, so I'm laying on the bed and it's I'm not quite there. I've hit they've gotten me almost to crescendo, but I haven't gotten to the crescendo. So I will take my mind. This is a trick, ladies. If you're out there, you need to think about what your spank bank material is. Now, spank bank material may be this is your fantasy, and so you have to imagine that the guy is your prince up on a white horse doing you, or whatever else it is. Okay, but uh, spank bank material for me is going back to some of my favorite moments, and I will go back to playing the clock in the Paris nightclub,
Yeah, me
when
too.
I had many people that
Hmm.
were doing it, and I'm like, oh, that's spank bank material,
Yeah,
yeah, I remember that. Okay, that was really
exactly.
good. And so I compartmentalize, and I will put some spank bank material in, and in my head visually I'll go there, and go there to make myself finish and finish and go ahead and come.
Yeah,
Sometimes it
that's
takes
good.
that.
Oh, yes. And I think the beauty in this lifestyle is that we do have those experiences to draw on, you know? Um, some of them have been fantastic. So you just think back to that and you're just like,
Right.
oh, yes. And you just relive it. And
Right.
yeah, I like that. Spank bank, huh? I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep stuff in the spank bank. And
Oh,
then,
yes.
that's, and sometimes it's just, it's a fantasy. I, I've learned, sometimes making a fantasy having a fantasy come true makes it not a good fantasy anymore,
Yeah.
because like, I, I fantasized for a long time about double penetration. And I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
double penetration would be great, because you see it in the porno stuff and
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys always ask for it. And when it happens, and then when I did my first double penetration, there was so much stuff going on. Yes,
Yeah.
I had two dicks in me. One was in the vagina, one was in the asshole. You have to manipulate it. And on other episodes, I've alluded to this. The guy with the bigger dick is the one that has to be going into your ass because it doesn't work the other way. The guy with the little dick cannot. I'm sorry, I have butt cheeks that are kind of big. Okay. You're going to have some length if you're going to come into my ass. Maybe other little girls it's fine with, and the smaller dick guys,
No,
but I'm sorry. I'm a little
there's only so
fluffy.
much room, there's only
Yeah.
so much room. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then, I have invariably had where somebody was in the ass and then it slid into two dicks in the pussy. And then the guys freak out when their dicks touch.
Oh,
And it's
because,
like,
yeah, now they're
you
gay.
know,
Oh,
yeah, all of a sudden they get into this, oh, I'm not going to, accidental sword touching is something that freaks them out and makes them not horny anymore. Wait,
yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
fine for you to watch me, licking some other girl's pussy and for us to have two girls, but it's not fine for two guys. Why?
To just have it slide out. Like, come on. That's nothing. I mean, come
Right,
on. We're in the heat of the
right,
moment. Look what you're doing. I
right.
mean,
But so when
you know
that
how many
DP,
times that
so
probably has to happen in a porn movie before
it
they get the
has
perfect
to.
shot.
It has to. I mean, how many takes do they have to take that
Oh,
poor girl's
it's got to be
asshole?
dozens. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. That's why she's got to be on drugs most of the time
Yes.
anyway for that to happen.
Ooh, yes.
But so for me, it's not my fantasy anymore. It happens. So be careful what you wish for, because sometimes when you experience it, it doesn't happen. And then when it doesn't happen, it's just like it's just not as good as what you thought it was going to be. Oh, I thought it was going to be really good to do this, and then no,
Hmm.
maybe not so fast.
Hmm.
So but so I have spank bank stuff that I keep. I think the other thing, um, my inside of my thighs are very tender. And I don't know other women. I've seen them. I've looked over and seen them, and they don't have a problem with it. But when a guy takes his elbows and digs them
Oh,
into my
yeah.
thighs so
Mm.
he can lick my pussy, all I can feel is the elbow in my thigh. Okay, I feel the tongue on my pussy at all because you have just taken all of my attention into you're gonna make a bruise on my thighs, and
Yeah.
inside of my other women must have a lot tougher thighs than I do. I can't, I just can't deal with. You can bruise. I can bruise very easily inside on those sides. So keep away from my thighs. I don't know if it's just me singly or if other women are like that,
No, I
but I
think you're
personally
right. You are
I'm
right.
really sensitive on the inside of my thighs. So, dude, don't stick your elbows on there. Get a pillow or something if that's what you have to do. But
Note to the listeners. Yes, please,
right.
please be
And
mindful of that.
I will tell you that when I came out of retirement and I did go to that place that had the stirrups hanging off the bed, that was what was awesome about those. Is there was no chance of the guy sticking his elbow on my thighs. The only way
Yeah.
that happens is if you're laying on the bed. If you're legs are up, like in the OBGYN table type position, where they're up and being supported, there's no way that guy is going to hurt your thighs.
Yeah.
So I totally enjoyed that. Now
Yeah.
I don't know how I would explain that to my children as to the
How'd you get the bruises? Well,
right. Well, I don't. Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I'm
moving
gonna wear
furniture.
grandma. I'm gonna wear
Always
grandma.
yeah.
Moving furniture is a good one.
Always is the answer. Moving furniture.
Uh, there was a couple. A couple that we had played with a long time ago. That they had a sex swing, and what they did is when they were done playing with the sex swing, they would take it down, and they had a hanging plant that they would hang off of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
That was how they explained that there was a big hook in the ceiling.
That's
the
right.
Hook in the ceiling. Yeah, well, why is it so heavy? That's a hell of a hook.
Yeah, for a silk plant. Hey, don't ask questions, kid. Don't ask questions. Yeah.
I think what else I wanted to talk about was so is there anything else you want to talk about that a guy does that's funky? I'm sorry. I changed the subject and I shouldn't.
Maybe it's more of a thing that we hit on at one time about rules. Because I was thinking I like to kiss. I think that's part of one of my erogenous zones, and it's foreplay to me. It tells me a lot about sensuality. And yet there are some guys that just want to wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Or they have rules with their spouse about, well, you can't kiss on the lips, or you can't, I don't know. So anyway, the point was more or less, spend a little time on the foreplay, before you want to dive right in. Even though everybody's in a hurry to get started, you can spend a little time, it goes a long way helping to get the fire fueled a little.
Well, and like I said, I was in retirement and I came out, I went to my first party, and that's on another podcast. I hadn't been in the party situation with that big amount of strangers. I'd been going over to like 3 or 4 couples. Everybody knows each other. That's different than we all know what each other likes, that doesn't like. We've played with each other many times. And so it's just familiar. It's a home base type party. It's a home party. This one we traveled a couple of hours to go to the party. I went to the party, and one of the guys decides I go back to play with the first guy I'm going to play with. I have no idea who he is. And it was like riding a bike, it's kind of like, oh, I'm pretty sure I know how to do this. So go into the room, take the lube in, and I just said to him, I'm getting better because I've learned to be a little bit more forward. And I said, before we get started, is there anything that you absolutely don't like? Or is there anything that you really like? Vice versa. And, he just basically said, oh, I pretty much like everything. And then I started asking a little bit further. I said, do you like to have your nipples played with? Because about 50% of the guys, from my experience, about 50% of the guys have sensitive nipples and 50% don't. And the guys that don't, they don't want to tell you that it's not sensitive. Almost like we don't want to tell them when they're doing stuff wrong in the liquid pussy area type stuff. I think they don't want to be identified as a non-sensuous person because their nipples aren't sensitive. But, it's not anything you can change. So I'm asking you the question because I want to be a better lover. I want to be better in figuring out what this is gonna. And sometimes I don't even ask. I just start and then try to hear their breath, and you can tell as you run your finger lightly across.
Exactly.
If you start at the neck and lick down and hope that they don't have that cologne dropped all over them, so you're looking at crap. which this guy
or
actually
or
did at that
sweaty,
time.
come on. Nobody
Oh,
wants to taste your sweat.
actually, I do. Okay,
Oh.
so this is the difference between you and me. You should see Barbie's face right now. At the same party. So
That's so
I
funny.
I will sidetrack to you. I was doing the another guy in the room where we had a whole bunch of people where we had just had the stirrups, and I was doing this guy, and he was sweating, and you could tell it was bothering him, and I grabbed him and I licked the sweat off of his chest and then up his neck, and I said, I love it.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Introducing Coconut Slickums, the ultimate personal lubricant that brings a touch of tropical paradise to your most adventurous sex party moments. Made from 100% pure coconut oil, Coconut Slickums offers a silky smooth glide that's as natural as a unicorn breeze practicing the rule of 6 or DP. No more worrying about synthetic ingredients or greasy residues. Just a luscious moisturizing experience that feels as good as it sounds. Perfect for enhancing intimacy or just adding a bit of luxurious fun to your day. So go ahead, indulge in the tropical treat your skin deserves with Coconut Slickums. Because when it's this smooth, it's always a perfect day at the meet and greet. To learn more, visit BeyondMonogamyPodcast.com.
Let's get back to hearing from the guilty.
I love the taste of the salty sweat. And he's like, oh my God, I'm the guy for you. Because she's getting ready to hand me. Because the other people in the room knew him and they said he sweats all the time. I was like, oh, then this is the guy for me. This is like a lid for the pot. You've got somebody who sweats and somebody who likes the taste of sweat.
Well,
Give
there
it
you
to
go.
me.
There you
Right.
go.
Especially in the middle of the moment and when that sweat is coming
Now
down because
that's
he's
sweat,
working
yeah. I
hard.
mean, that's,
Oh,
if it's
and
because
yeah,
they've been working so hard, that
yeah.
is
And so you're
that's
right.
completely different than
I
if we're
don't
just
like them to
getting
start
ready
out
for
sweaty.
foreplay. That's
Right.
right.
Right. I don't like them
You
to
know,
start out sweaty, but if the middle of it,
exactly.
they get sweaty, I'm
Oh yeah.
licking it off.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It-
I mean,
it's
dripping on
so
me and stuff.
good.
I'm probably not going to drink it. So, or
Oh,
lick it.
I'm licking it.
Oh,
And so yeah, but this guy, but when so he tells me everything is okay, and so we had a good time playing. Um, I my nipples, I like to have my nipples pinched, but not like in the beginning. You have to you have to warm me up like an old radio console, that you've turned on and the tubes are starting to go. That's pretty much me. And oh my God, am I aging myself? Because most of the people out there who listen to this have no idea what I'm talking about.
no idea what a tube
But
is from a
let's put it
radio.
this way. When you first turn on the air conditioner and the air conditioner isn't spitting out cool air yet, okay, it takes a little bit of time. That's me, okay, because I've got to work up my nipples to the point to where but in the middle of sex, um, you pinch those nipples and I'm gonna go really hard. I'm gonna come and we were at this party um, uh, when I was living closer to where Steve and Elle live. We were at a party up north, and this guy, his name was Blasian. He was this really uh, he was a younger guy. He was a lot of fun to play with. He was black, and his girlfriend or wife was Asian. And so that fit totally where my husband wanted to play. And so he was really happy that he was playing with her. And I was really happy. And it was at a party, so it didn't matter if we paired up or not, but he happened to pair up with her. And I started playing with this guy. And in the middle of the play, he asks, can I pinch your nipples? And I say, yes. Okay, because he has licked me and he's moved my heart. We've been playing for about 10 or 15 minutes. Foreplay's been
Right. So
excellent.
you're in it. Yeah.
I am totally warmed up. This air conditioner is revving. Okay. And
Yeah.
so he's like, can I pinch your nipples? And then he's like, yeah. And then he goes, I need you to pinch my nipples. I was like, oh. And so I pinched his nipples and his dick got harder. And
Oh,
so then
all right.
he was pinching mine hard. I was pinching his hard. I mean, we were pinching each other's nipples. And it was, the climax was fantastic. And I mean, to the point that it was just like both of us hit the climax at the same time. And I, I like to have them pinch so much that, like, I like to the next day feel my sore nipples on my shirt and know that they're sore because I got fucked hard last night.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that was where I was. And
Oh
that
yes.
guy was like, oh yeah. When you have somebody who matches,
Oh yes.
like the guy with the sweat, I loved it. I licked it off, and it was total joy. And I wasn't faking it; it really was. So you can't fake it. And then
Right.
the
Right.
pinching stuff or whatever. So, uh, oh, that brings me to a story. Um, so, um, we were in, um, we had been invited, to a party, um, when we were just, my, hubby number two and I had just gotten back into the lifestyle, and we had just started having our own parties. And we got invited to a party um, we'll call her Bill and Nellie's house. And they had heard that we were having parties. And so somebody said, you need to invite these people. They're a lot of fun. So we went to Bill and Nellie's part. Now, the invitation was very specific, and it said, you have to get here between 7 and 8. If you don't get here, if you get here after 8, you won't be allowed to come in. Um, at between 8 and 9 o'clock is when we stay upstairs and we have cocktail hour, where you meet everybody, you talk to everybody, and you enjoy each other's company and learn about each other. And then at 9 o'clock, you go downstairs, and that's when you take off your clothes and play. This is what the invitation said. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was all written out in the invitation, and it said, you'll go downstairs and play. And it said, if you leave at 9 o'clock and don't go downstairs, you won't be invited back.
Okay.
So understand, you're leaving the party. We completely understand this is not for you. You
Right.
can leave
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. Okay. So everything was very structured, and I can't stand it that everything was very structured. But
Well, it makes
I
you want to
wanted,
break a rule. Come on, you got to
I
break one.
totally wanted to break a
Of
rule. And
course. Yeah.
we
Gotta
go,
break one.
right. And so we go, and this is their house is in a big city. Okay. It's in a pretty big city. And so we go, and, we get there at 7 on the dot. We go inside, and, you know, um, we are basically sitting upstairs in their kitchen. We had brought drinks because they had said, if you want to drink, bring your own alcohol, and that's completely understandable too. Because
Yeah, that's normal.
people don't want to deal with other people's
Exactly.
needs on that. And so I don't have a problem bringing that. And so I don't drink very much. So I'll just bring a little bit of hard liquor, and that was it. So we're sitting at the table, and we meet this other couple, and the other couple is it's Bill and Miranda. And so Bill and Miranda, it turns out this is the first time that we met them. We became such good friends with Bill and Miranda that this is the first time that we met them at this party. It was wonderful. Okay, so the fact that I attended it and it had rules, and I made myself push myself out of my boundaries and do it. If I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have met our best friends in the lifestyle at that point. Okay, so we're sitting at the table, and Bill and Miranda are there, and Bill is the same height as my husband, which is unbelievable. And it turns out that they they went to college near each other. They had their professional careers like within a couple of hours of each other, locational wise, so that they get into speaking about the geographics, and they are off talking about all this other stuff. And then I'm talking to Miranda, and she is telling me where she came from, and she asks where I came from, and it turns out that her sister was in my home, my town where I raised my children. And her sister was part of a scandal where she was married to a banker and the banker cheated on her. And I was friends with the woman that he cheated on her with. So that was really weird. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's just so, and so we're having this discussion and we're into this. And then we start talking about, so now I know about you a little bit personally. Our standard questions are, tell me your best stories in the lifestyle or your worst stories in the lifestyle. And during that time period, one of the stories I told was about the fact that I like to have my nipples pinched in the middle of sex. And so that came out in whatever story I was telling. I can't remember exactly what story it was, but that data point that I like to have my nipples pinched when I'm in the middle of sex because it'll make me orgasm, that comes out. And so 9 o'clock comes and we so there was this other woman came into the party, and her name was Missy, and Missy and her boyfriend, Jeff, and Missy is just beautiful. You know, she's like, there's going to be the beautiful woman at the party. It's her.
Yeah.
Okay. She's just gorgeous. And she's not like bitchy gorgeous, I'm pretty and you're not. She's just glowing gorgeous, nice to everybody,
Yeah.
very nice to all of us. And so I am enamored with Missy, as is everybody else in the room, including the husbands. And so 9 o'clock hits, and Missy tells us that she's a unicorn, but she's there with one of her boyfriends, Jeff. And so the first people down the stairs is Missy and Jeff. And then Bill and Miranda go down the stairs, and everybody else goes down the stairs, including me. And this part I kind of like, because as they're going down the stairs, clothes are coming off. Okay. So like clothes are being thrown off as you're going down the stairs. And so you know that, yes, the play is going to happen. So we go downstairs into the playroom, and it is a big playroom. There are no private areas. There's just a couple of beds and a couple of mattresses, and then there's like a couch and a chair. And I walk down the stairs, and I see sitting there in the chair is Missy. And in between her legs, actually, no, sitting in the chair is Jeff, her boyfriend, and bent over him and giving him a blowjob is Missy. And all I see is her ass. And the thing is, at this time in my lifestyle journey, it would say on my profile that I was not bisexual. Okay. It would say,
Right.
I don't do girls. Okay. Because at that point, that's where I was. I was kind of closed-minded, and I was thinking, no, I don't do girls. And
Right.
so it said that on my profile. I saw Missy's ass, and I was like,
Converted.
oh, I could do a girl. I could do a girl. Oh my God.
That's right. I've been turned out.
Missy's ass is what turns me. Okay. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
so
Well,
I
it would
see,
turn anybody. Yes.
right. So I see Missy's ass, and I was like, oh, this is so wonderful. And so the thing is that she I just gasped, and she heard it. And I just said, that is beautiful. And she stops sucking and turns around and looks at me, and she goes, would you like a turn? And I was like, absolutely. Okay.
Sure.
And so she gets up and goes somewhere else, and I start blowing this guy Jeff. And so it's like, oh, this is wonderful. Okay. And I had brought my drink downstairs. Everybody, we'd gotten naked. We brought our drinks downstairs. So I had I'd set a drink on the table. There are other drinks that are sitting on the table. I get in the chair, and Jeff. So we switch places because I get Jeff to come, which is great.
Oh,
I give him a
yes.
first
Good
load.
job.
It's like, yes, good job. So then he's like, let me make you happy. And I was like, okay. And so we switch places, and now I'm in the chair, and Jeff is between my legs. And so he is very aggressively licking away at me, and I can't even remember it was good or bad. It doesn't matter, okay? Because
Yeah.
it was good enough that I was happily climbing
In
the
the
summit,
zone.
and
Exactly.
I was in the zone climbing the summit. It was not groceryless sex, and all of a sudden, um, Bill comes over and leans over and pinches my nipple. And
Oh,
when he does it, I just come and I am screaming. Okay. I'm screaming coming because it's that wonderful. And Jeff is happy and Bill is laughing. And so I am so happy. Jeff stands up and I go and I grab Bill without even asking him. And I was like, I got to make you happy now. And
yeah.
I started blowing him. And as I blew him, it was the best tasting dick that I have ever had. Okay. It was so sweet. And so it was like pineapple sweet. Okay. And I was just like, God, this is great. And the thing is, what I didn't know about Bill at the time that I do know now is Bill can only take about 20 seconds, not even that,
Yeah.
10 seconds of touching, and then he comes. Okay.
Yeah.
So it took like 3 sucks for me to suck Bill. And then he starts screaming, I'm coming. So he's just screaming this. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I stop and I'm hugging him. I'm hugging Jeff. I'm talking to Missy. I'm inviting Jeff and Missy to the party that we're having next weekend. I invite Bill and Miranda to the party that we're having next weekend. I do not invite Bob and Nancy because they weren't any good. Okay, that's for another day. Even though they had a great party, they weren't good fucks. Okay. So thank
Hey,
you for
that's
inviting me
right.
to the party, but I only got so many spaces. And so,
Yeah.
I didn't even tell them. I just quietly told Bill and Miranda on the side that we were having it. And I
Well, you
told
only have
Missy,
so much room, so you
right.
knew, you know.
I told Missy and Jeff we were having this. You guys, need to come the next weekend. And so fast forward to the next weekend, uh, Bill and Miranda come in, and they come early, and they come to the house and they come early, and they are sitting there, and we are talking about what a great time we had the weekend before, and how much we have in common with them, how great friends we know we're going to be, which we end up being absolutely.
Absolutely.
They are the sweetest people, and we talk about Missy, and then Missy shows up. And so I've got the gang there, and probably Steve and Al are there. And a whole bunch of people have arrived. And I say to Bill, I got to tell you this. And I say it in front of the group. Okay. I got to tell you this. I sucked your dick last week, and it was the best tasting dick I have ever had. What do? Do you just eat a bunch of pineapple, or
Right.
what is it that you do? And he goes, I have a confession to make. And I go, well, what's the confession? And he said, when I was leaning over the table to pinch your nipple, my dick fell into somebody's drink. Dick fell into somebody's
I think you're onto something.
The whole place erupts in laughter. And we are just thinking that is just the most hilarious thing. He was like, and so then the rest of
What's
the
better
evening,
is
that
somebody probably picked up that drink and went ahead.
and somebody probably drank the drink. It doesn't matter. It was probably a pina colada. So I
Pina.
brought up, right. So I brought up the fact. I said it's probably a pina colada. And Al was sitting there and she goes, oh no, it wasn't a pina colada. She goes, it was a penis colada.
Yes, exactly.
And so,
Slightly stirred.
right. So then all the jokes start happening, and we go, we think we're
Oh,
onto
that's
something.
great.
We have a new product. We should call it Dick Dippers. And we go,
Yes.
we should call it Dick Dippers. And then the rest of the night, somebody would go upstairs, and then they'd come running back downstairs, and they'd scream out a name, and it'd be Strawberry Dickory.
Oh,
Or,
yes. Yes. Oh, couldn't you come up with some? Yes, that's right.
oh, there was yeah. So out of somebody listening and somebody doing the things right, these things I remember, and I'm just never going to forget it. Dick Dippers. And
Oh,
so
that's
yeah,
so funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. What did you do? Eat a lot of pineapple?
and this is what I said. This is what he told me, and he told me with this little grin, and this little
Oh,
grin of, well, I got to tell you the truth.
I got a confession.
Like confession. I think it's always
Oh,
scary when the guy's like,
oh,
I got a confession to make.
exactly. And that was certainly not what you expected.
Oh, not at all.
Oh, that's great.
I had no idea I was going to tell you that story tonight, but that one hangs in my heart on a regular
That is a
basis.
natural flow from what we were talking about. That was perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Oh, Dick Dippers. I think
Right.
you're
And
onto
so,
something.
and I understand that when we talk about the rules, when we talk about guys, uh, and I mean, I don't want to diss them. I'm happy that they're having sex. I'm happy they
Exactly.
want to have sex with me. So I don't want to turn them off, but I also want them.
Exactly.
Sometimes I want a button or something I can just do. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
can you read the signs a
Yoo-hoo.
little bit? Hello, not there.
Tap, tap, tap on the forehead or on the back of the
Well,
head.
and
Excuse me.
because they're so I mean, I'm happy that they're doing it, but at the same time, so I have, as I've gotten older, I have made sure that when we have adult play, that we have some toys around, so that if you can tell they've been at it for a while and they're getting tired and they're not really hitting the spot,
Right.
then just saying, let's play with one of these vibrating fingers, and then putting it on their balls and putting it on them and showing them how it might feel and stuff might help them. And that's
Yeah.
also that when they sometimes, but then sometimes it backfires on me, because they'll grab a toy and they'll think that they're putting it in the right place, and they'll
Oh, I
put it
know.
not on the clit.
Not
It'll
even
be
close. Yeah.
not even close. It'll be
Not
like,
even
dude,
close.
that's not
Yeah.
the little man in the canoe.
Maybe we should have just talked about how important it is to find the clit. Holy cow, friends. I mean, I don't think even in porn movies they show nearly enough time spent
But
there. They just
it's not
don't.
so it's not so much find the clit. It's, oh, I want you to find the clit. But I want you to warm things up. And then at some point after you've warmed me up, I want you to find the clit. And
Mm-hmm.
then, but I also, um, there are some women that like to have that clit punished big time. And then there's some people that don't. They like to have a little bit of a flicker and then back, or a little bit of a flicker or flick it or whatever. And then I've seen some women where they want the guys to, like, practically the fingers that I've seen go at it on the clit. I was like, I don't think my clit can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't take that kind of abuse anymore. Please don't make it sore.
Yeah. Oh, please. No, no, not there. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Right. But I don't want to sound ungrateful.
Exactly. I
I,
don't either. I don't either. That's what I said early on when we started. I didn't want to sound, unappreciative or disrespectful or anything like that. I was just, there are things that I'm sure that women do that men would feel the same way. They find quite irritating.
right.
So I hope they
Maybe
will share that with us.
maybe we can let Roger and Steve come back on and have
Yeah,
them tell us some of the stuff that we do that they don't like. Or
exactly.
maybe
Exactly.
maybe they just like everything we do.
Well, There is that. Now, although I would say that through the years, I have learned some guys like it if you're getting, if you're in the moment and you're having sex and you start moving with their movement, to try to
Yeah.
match, moving your hips. And then other guys just want you to lay still and let them do the rhythm and let them do the magic. So I think but I think you get that with experience and you get that with that moment with your partner. I think,
Hmm.
you read that person and, it's all good. It's just, I think there are sometimes you really get in that zone and
Right.
it's even better.
Okay. Well, I think we had our girls' discussion, and
I think
I'm
so
gonna,
too. This is
I
good.
want to thank everybody for listening who made it this far. And don't steal that Dick Dippers idea. We may still do it.
Hey, I think, you got the slickums and now you have the
Dick Dippers.
dippers. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, we were
Different
talking.
flavors.
We were talking about putting them in like package where you just rip off the thing and you just dip your
Just dip it in there. Oh,
dip your dick in there. I'm sure we could get Mending is the producer to help me with that. Maybe we have a second commercial instead of Slickums. We have Dick Dippers.
that's right. And we'll take
Anyway,
suggestions on the
right. So,
flavorings.
right. We'll take suggestions on the flavoring. If you would like to be a guest on the show, let me know. If there's something you want to talk about, you want to get off your chest. If there's a topic you would like for us to discuss, I do really think it'd be good for us to have the guys come on and do a counterpoint
Yes, I
to
do
this,
too.
and let them chat. And then I am going to be interested to see what Roger thinks of this.
Oh yes,
Of this episode. I'm sure they'll let us know.
he
Anyway,
will.
thanks to everybody who made it through to the end of this. Hopefully you'll join us again. And I keep trying to figure out what is going to be my clothesline, closing out the podcast. I think I just want to tell you, I'm really grateful for everybody who joined us, and hopefully you can come again and again
Oh, that's a good one.
and again.
Yeah, that's a good
Thanks
one.
for being with us.
That's a good one.
That's it for this episode of Beyond Monogamy. We hope you enjoyed our podcast, and we look forward to having you back again for the next episode of Beyond Monogamy.